This is Angela Barias here. This video is sponsored by angelabarias.com. You may find the link in the description below. Click like and subscribe and hit the bell so you can get notifications of new videos we load. I'll be watching for your comments, so hit like and share with others. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining me tonight one more time, as every single Tuesday, as we promised. Angela Barias here, your financial coach, and I am very appreciative of spending this time one more time on a Tuesday with all of you, just to talk to a little subject that might be a big thing. It's a little subject, but it's a big thing, and I think it's one of those subjects that are extremely touchy, because it has to do with relationships and it has to do with money. So as we announced these past days, we were going to talk about marriage and money. And so if you're not in a relationship or you're not married, maybe you think, this is not for me. But what about if I just invite you to stay with me? Because maybe what you learn helps you identify situations and moments in your past life, your present, or your future life in which you might take advantage for the better. So marriage and money, that is the subject. And as always, thank you so much for joining us tonight, Tuesday. As we promised, again, Angela here on this side of town. I don't know exactly from where are you joining me tonight, but I appreciate your presence. And if you have, hi sweetheart, if you have a question, if you want to know more about a special subject, if you want to address a concern in regards to what we're going to be talking, or any other information already given on my other videos, you can feel free just to go ahead and contact me, DM. You have all my information right there on my card, and my website, and YouTube, and Facebook. You have many different ways to reach out to me. 20 years of experience in not just financial, but business, and coaching people is my passion. Not to direct anybody's life, but just to bring light so you can make better decisions, so you can transform your life the way you want. Your outcome is always based on whatever you choose. It's never based on whatever I think is best for you. My position as a coach, especially as a financial and business coach, is just to be with you and allow you to see the things that you might not be able to identify. That's it. You are in charge of your life, and that's why these kinds of subjects are very important, not just for maybe you, whether you're married or not. Maybe you're planning to get married. Maybe it's in the dream list, the wish list, the desire list. Maybe you put it together along with me when we work on the goals. Setting up the goals the right way workshop that we had at the end of December. It's very popular, and it's gonna come about a review workshop. Review workshop is coming up, meaning that all those goals that you set up, you're gonna be able to review them with me and redirect. Pivot as a great coach that is an influence in my life as well says, pivot, right? I was born to pivot. And it's a great strategy, because sometimes something doesn't work, and it doesn't mean you have to stick with it. We can always change. So let's dig in. This is marriage and money. And the whole purpose of the encounter, hi Oscar. The whole purpose of the encounter here is for you to learn strategy to apply in that relationship in regards to money. Because let's just face it, you know the statistics. This is not the United States statistics. These are statistics from all over the world. When it comes up to money, the relationship gets a little shaky. Because if we don't have the right basis and we don't have the communication and we don't understand each other and we are not able to kind of like come into an agreement, sometimes and most times that ends a relationship. So my whole purpose here with this marriage and money is that you can take with you notes and apply actions so you can either make it through if you're having a situation that's not sweet, or just simply decide. And with this, I'm not saying that I patronize or sponsor breaking up marriages whatsoever. What I'm saying is sometimes, and just sometimes, you just have to make decisions. Okay, I leave that up to you. That's my coaching part. That's my coaching part. I'm just saying. So let's just talk about that. Now, I do want to remind you that you have the freedom to, ask questions, make comments. Thank you so much for being with us, all of you. But this information is also going to stay in my YouTube channel. In other words, if you just go to my YouTube channel and subscribe and hit the bell button, every time I put more subjects in, you're gonna be able to be up to date. And everything I bring to you is not just 20 years of experience. It's 20 years of loving people. It's 20 years of dealing with other people as I dealt with me. So it's very important for me, because relationship is something that when it's not working for you, the rest doesn't work. Business doesn't work, money doesn't work, the job doesn't work, promotions don't work. Because when that aspect of your life is broken, the rest might look great, but trust me, I know it's not. So here we go. Marriage and money, let's make it or break it. I want to talk to you about relationships and money stages. Like in everything in life, there are stages money-wise when we enter relationships. In all sorts of relationships, there is, when it comes up to marriage, there is this, before you agree, before you say, I do want to get married to you, that before they ask you, and then you go like, yes, I want to get married. So that is the one stage. Now, today, we're not talking about that stage. And that's going to come at another video, in which, and this is not counseling, by the way, these are practical action steps, so you can make better decisions when it comes up to finances. So before you say I do, that's a stage. It's a stage. Say I do, but then you don't get married tomorrow. I mean, I know some people have, but there is a process from the I do to, okay, so let's set up the date, get married. That's a stage. We're not going to talk about that, but I'm going to bring more information about it. The planning of the wedding. Money. It's not a relationship only. It's a money. Let's disperse money and put it into this. There's a lot of things that go along in a wedding. It's not just, oh, you and I were gonna get married and now we got married. Yeah, that's great. But if you for the most part, is females, like we are very into this thing. But I don't want to discriminate and say we're the only ones, because men as well, sometimes they do like that recognition of getting married, because that's what it is. So that's a second stage. I'm not talking about that either. We will bring that, because the planning portion, when it comes up to money, is extremely important. Because most weddings, as I know, I have my little sister getting married, and I don't want to disclose how much money that is in my own country per se. But when I compare apples to apples, United States of America and the country I was born, very expensive. So you just want to do things the right way. Now, the honeymoon, I call it the honeymoon. Okay, it's a stage. It's like the honeymoon, but it's like the money part of the honeymoon. Okay, so the honeymoon, and I'm gonna touch that. I'm gonna talk about that subject tonight. Handling your money. That's during the marriage. That's the one we're gonna focus on today. Another stage is legal aspects of the marriage when it comes up to, because when it comes up to money and legal, there's legalities there, benefits, there's pros and cons. That's not my subject today. We'll talk about that in my disclosure. I'm not an attorney, but I will bring you information as far as like the finances is concerned. In marriage and in taxes or other important things that you have to deal with. And those are stages, those are money stages, okay? So it's not like I do want to get married to you and then now we're at the wedding and now we're handling money. Well, sometimes it happens like that. And so life, collides, and it's a very interesting mix. And if we're not flexible enough. So let's talk about one thing, and this is my approach to marriage and money. I try to make it as practical because I love to be pragmatic. That's my side of Angela. Like my middle name means that, pragmatic. So the economics of a successful marriage. Now, what if I tell you that we could apply business and economics to the marriage? I mean, the same way we build a business, the same way we come into a partnership, and then we put money and an idea, and then we sell, and then we recruit, and then what about if I tell you that a marriage is very much like owning a business? Have you thought about that? Have you ever thought about that? Yes, this relationship, I love you. Yes, I love you too. Yes, baby, we're gonna do this and that. But what if I just tell you that underneath all that love, we can do a lot if we just treat the marriage, and I'm not coming to a cold approach. If we just treat the marriage as a business, meaning apply economics theories, business theories to it. So bear with me, because if there are, oh, thank you. I know you will love that. You see, if there are businesses, huge businesses, Buick, PNC Bank, you name it, AXA, Equitable, GM, Verizon, Sam's Club. There's so many, Mercedes-Benz. Those economics, you want to know? You want to know which are those so you can apply? Bear with me. Let's do it. Look, I always tell you, take a pen and paper, because this is not about you taking all the notes, because you can always go to my IGTV, you can go to my YouTube and retrieve all this information. It's okay. You can engage here with me and pay attention and just learn by being present. But let's go to those economics. Now, this is not about cash. This is not about cash flow. This is not about money. Please understand economics in the marriage. I'm not talking about the cash flow. How much money we're going to make because we're married. It's about the economic theories, because that marriage is very much like a business. Look, let's just explore how they compare. We have two people that get a license to get married, right? A license to get married. They make an agreement. They pool their resources towards one common goal, which is you and I will love each other. We're going to live together. The I do part until death do us part, for health, for goodness, for bad times, for everything. It's the same in a business. I start a business idea with somebody else. We're two different people, right? And we got to get licenses. We got to give it a name. We have to make an agreement, because when you come into a partnership, it's not just a verbal agreement. You have to write it down so we are clear. And then we bring everything we've got so we can start up the business towards one vision. We're manufacturing this and selling that. We are going to have a service and we're going to sell the service. right? And I got one of my favorite Zoe Servicios right with us. Thank you for being with us. And Josie is an independent business owner, and she knows what I'm talking about, right? So let me give you a second comparison. There is a verbal contract stating that both of them are committed. So you and your partner, meaning you and your spouse or the person to be, in order to make it work. Because now we got married, right? Now we got married, and we gotta make it work, right? We gotta make it work. We're newlywed, make it work. The same thing happens in a business. As soon as you start up, there's no turning back. You're not gonna quit. You're gonna have to go through good times, bad times, hard times, easy times, all the times until the job gets done and you can take off and then feel like the business is producing. So there is a period of adjustment and all that requires commitment. So it looks the same to me. This other example, both partners in a business, just like in a marriage, bring a big investment. Now I'm talking about money, and not just money, investment, time-wise, mentally, emotionally, physically, with the hope of getting a great return over time. So that right there says to me that getting married and being married to somebody is pretty much like having a partner at a business. So if I apply those economics of owning a business, and both sides, both parties are clear about what it is and the common goal, and then we can look for strategies that work, I bet money will never be an issue. Okay, so let's talk about those business principles that are applicable to the marriage. And pay close attention, and you can write this down. The cost benefit analysis, that is an economic theory for a business. I know you've heard it, cost benefit analysis, cost benefit. So the cost and the benefit, what it costs me, what is the benefit? I have to analyze that. It's as simple as that. It's a business theory, it's an economic theory for a business. Cost benefit analysis. Now in marriage, many decisions, whether from like the tiniest one to the biggest one, they all alter the relationship. Okay, because it's an engaged, it's a life, it's happening, right? So everything we do always affect the other person, always, regardless of what you spend, what you save, everything. So I'm going to give you an example, very small example. The cost benefit analysis is a theory that you use to say, if I spend this, what will be the benefit? If I invest or spend this, would that bring me something good or bad at the long run? So I'll give you an example marriage-wise. You take $25 and you set aside that every week, 25, okay? 25, it's not 30, 40, 50, $25. And with those $25, you and your spouse are gonna go out once a week to a new restaurant. Now, let me give you some cost benefit analysis. Number one, you're saving $25 there, you're putting the $25 aside, and it's not harming you. It's not like, oh, it's a fortune, it's $500 every week. No, it's $25 out of what you produce, and you're just putting that away for going out for dinner. Now, number two, when you go out to dinner with your spouse, what are you doing? Talking and spending time, enjoying the food, the drink, spending time together. Number three, based on cost benefit analysis, it benefits you and your spouse because that time that you spend together, it strengthens the relationship, creates a stronger bond of the marriage, And actually, you really need to spend time with each other to get to know each other. You never end learning the other person. And many times, and I'm not a counselor, but I have seen many clients coming to me with 10, 15 years of marriage, even 20 years and more. And you know what's the problem they're having? That they're not talking to each other. They stop spending time with each other. They stop honoring that little time, $25 a week. It's not breaking the bank. Okay? So if I apply the cost benefit analysis, I'll be saying, you know what? This is very cheap for a very cheap investment for all the gain that I'm going to get. Because my spouse needs my attention. I want his or her attention. And you know what? I get to know other sides of that person. And we get to talk about many things and we get to enjoy, right? And it's not just her cooking and me receiving or vice versa, because it also happens like that. So that's cost benefit analysis. I'm going to give you another theory, and that is a moral hazard. The moral hazard theory for businesses says that when we're together, we get to be too big to fail. So in other words, once we get there and we're working and it's happening and everything is there, you know what? I'm just not gonna act irresponsible towards life to create a bad consequence in which is going to destroy the relationship. That's pretty much what it is. Because we together mean too much. We together are too big to fail. So that theory right there, if you explore that just a little bit, if we were all stopping for a bit to think about it before even making another decision, when I understand the value of that relationship and the cost, my cost and the other person cost into it, I will not take unnecessary risk. What am I saying? Well, I will not be flirting with anybody else. I will not, and again, my thing, I'm a coach. But when I see people in front of me, when I have people in front of me and we're talking about their finances, you know what breaks a marriage many times? It's not the money issue. It's the relationship issue. It's the fact that there's one of the parts decided to take an unnecessary risk. You know what's the unnecessary risk nowadays? You know what it looks like? It looks like pornography. It looks like dating online. It looks like private messaging. It looks like something that keeps you up at night, that doesn't take your booty to the bed to sleep with your significant other, with your wife, with your husband. So you're spending too much time away of the nestiness, right? So unnecessary cost is a moral hazard, because when I put my relationship at risk based on my own decisions, because I wanted to look at another person, I wanted to explore another relationship, an extramarital relationship, that's gonna bring money problems as well. So there are no bailouts in marriage. I don't believe on that. Sometimes a relationship doesn't work, and I always hope that you can capture the idea when I tell you that you have to learn to know yourself so you can find the right person for yourself. But once you're in a marriage, there's really not such a thing like, you're bailing things out. There's no bailouts whatsoever. When you fail, there's consequences. When the other person fails, there's consequences. So there's a moral hazard. Let me give you a third one. Loss aversion. The idea is pretty much to experience loss as a greater psychological impact when you're going to experience, let's just say, let's just put it this way, when you're going to experience something that's going to give you a gain or has the same value of what you will lose. So I'm going to put it in simple terms, because loss aversion is a theory that's pretty not complicated, but sometimes not easy to understand for everybody. Just think about this. It's kind of like if I punish you when you don't do what you're supposed to. If I punish you, what you lose, what you lose in that event. But I'm going to put it in simple terms. Let's just say that you and your spouse every single year travel to the same beach for vacation, right? Based on budget, money, whatever. And it's always to the same place. I mean, it's great. You both like it because you love the beach. You love the beach. It's great. You love it. But it happens that after 4 years, she wants to explore a different idea, and she wants to go hiking to the mountains. Now, maybe you are thinking, why are we going to change? We're already doing this good. Everything seems to be perfect. I mean, we love it. It's like a second honeymoon every time we go over there. And now you start resisting to the change because you think you're going to lose something by changing. Now, the most important thing when you analyze a loss aversion is to say, look, it's the same distance. If we go to the mountain or we go to the beach, it's exactly the same distance. So you're really time-wise, it's the same. When it comes up to money, the resort on the beach or the hotel at the beach is the same that we will pay when we go to the mountain. Let's think about it. Food is going to be different. So that's going to kind of like bring flavor as well into our lives. And then it's going to be exactly the same time. We're just going to explore something new. Now, in loss aversion, when you don't give in to the idea of that experiencing that new change and you resist to it and you want to stay, it's like a business. You just want to sell this. You just want to sell this. You just want to do this. You don't want to change it. It has to be like this. It has to be like this. It has to be like this. And you resist to the change. What happens in the loss aversion, because you just don't want to change, you break something. You lose something. You stop gaining. But when you don't resist and you go through the experience, then that doubles investment. That brings variety. That brings motivation. That brings creativity. That gives you so much more. That's what happens in a business, and it's just the same with a marriage. So now you didn't resist to go to the mountain, and guess what? It wasn't that bad. As a matter of fact, when you came back, you're like, baby, we have to go back. It was amazing. I know we love the beach, but we have to do more of this, more of what is called variety. It's called, if cost is the same and we're just changing for a new experience and everything seems to be equal, then I have to let go of my fear of losing my contentment here and gain more contentment, but in a different scenario. Okay? Now, for those that have been married for a while and you're entering into a routine, you know what I'm talking about. What it means is like you're doing the same thing all the time, the same thing all the time, the same thing all the time. And then the flame of love starts doing like this until it's totally off. So that's when you have to, in a marriage, analyze if we have $1,000 to go on a trip every year or $2,000 to go on a trip every year. What can we do with those $2,000 that is going to bring a new experience? So that's when you set up the goal and you put the money aside to do that. This loss aversion technique is going to bring you so much more, right? Because it's going to innovate in you as a person, and it's going to bring more towards the relationship. Okay, The more you feel, the more you feel excited about yourself and about your experiences, the more your spouse is gonna feel excited as well, because it all starts with yourself. Incentives, that's another one. We do it with children, okay? They do it at work with you, to you, and you can do it with your employees. Incentives, when you have a sales force, because I have participated, I love sales, I love that part of life. Giving something of value to people and explaining that value, right? It gets me really excited. Incentive is great, because when you're having to motivate a person by giving them something they love, they continue doing that more often. And the more often they do it, is the better. So it's very important that you use incentives, the right incentives, okay? I'm not braving anybody here. It's not a money incentive. You're gonna now pay your spouse to do something. That's not it. What I'm talking about is like getting to know each other. And there are tons of books out there that you can read. Read about personalities, learn about that. It's important when it comes up to marriage and money. If you want to make it instead of break it, you have to learn your spouse personality. You need to learn what they like, what they dislike, how they move, how they express love. Sometimes they hide it very well, right? If you want to learn about love languages, there is a book for that. There's tons of books you can reach. If you are lacking of that, go reach books, reach information, take a workshop, do something about that, because it's going to help you. So you can bring the right incentive. What do I mean by that? If I have a spouse, if my spouse loves gifts, and I'm expecting my spouse to take out the garbage, because that's my love language. His is gifts, mine is service. So he's expecting a gift from me, not for me to ask him to take the garbage out, right? But if he gets to know me well, and that's not my case, but if he gets to know me well, and he understands that by him taking the garbage out, I feel great. He does that little investment on something he doesn't like too much to do, which is taking the garbage out. But I in turn will praise him up in different ways, okay? Financially as well, because I know his is a gift. So you know what, I can have little things that he might like that represent a gift that will boost his love tank, okay? So learn more about that, but that is important because that has to do a lot with money as well. So these are incentives. All these things work in a business the same way as they work in a marriage. There is a game theory. This is about to make the decisions strategically in a situation. Marriage is a lot like that. Listen, we can go in life just making decisions crazily, or we can be more strategic about a situation. Remember, sometimes and most times we want different things, or we think different about the thing that we want. Okay, but that's not a problem. That's just people. It's just personality. Now, we both are striving to what? To get the best result under the circumstances. Sometimes we just gotta give in a little bit. It's a commitment thing. It's like, okay, so I'm not getting everything I want, money-wise. Maybe, okay, so I want a mansion, but we can only purchase a small condominium, maybe small apartment. Well, we gotta start somewhere, right? So I can't get the mansion because we don't have the finances to do it, but I compromise. We're gonna spend here 5 years, and then once we're being very faithful about making payments, bringing the balance down, then I think we can flip this, sell it, and then buy us a better place. Okay, so it's a game. It's a game, right? In the game, there's rules on how we are going to compromise to get results for that common situation. It's all about making a win-win. So if I make less money than my spouse and I have more time than my spouse, listen to what I'm saying. This is a game theory that brings money into the house. Then I myself will go into looking for an extra way to make money so I can compensate. So now I'm going to put the same amount of time my spouse is putting in pretty much the same amount of money. That extra income can be used for many goals financially when we're married. And my extra effort can be also rewarded when it comes up to making decisions about what we're going to do with money. Get it? So that's the game theory. Now, think at the margin. That's another business theory. Think at the margin. What does that mean? Think at the margin. Think about that. Think at margin. So now you're going to stand at the margin of the situation, right? It's kind of scary because sometimes you got to make decisions. You're right there. You're right there. You're about to cross to a new situation. You guys are crossing to a new system, you gotta move, whatever it is that's happening, it's a crossroad. And now you have to make a decision. So at that point, you just don't go. It's like, I went. At that point, you have to use the think at margin theory. Meaning, listen, before we move, let's talk. Before we make any decision, let's look at the pros and cons. What's best? What do you want? What do I want? What's best for children if we have children in the house as well? If we don't have children, also that applies. And once we've talked about it, that's communication. It engages that, right? Once we talked about that, then we can use all our resources to make a decision that's going to change our lives. So thinking at margin is a business and an economic theory that allows us to apply a strategy to gain. And sometimes even when we make the wrong decisions for not talking, for not spending the time to apply this theory, we end up losing. We lose trust on each other, we lose trust on ourselves, we lose money, we waste time, and we lose material, we lose a lot of things. I'm going to give you a great example of this, and I think I'm going to make this example noticeable because I went through it, not myself, but I went through it. I saw a lot of people going through this situation when the market bubble here in the United States of America, 2008, and people lost a lot for not thinking at the margin. And I'm not talking about what they lost after 2008. I'm talking about what they lost in 2008 for not thinking in 2004, when the market started getting inflated. Big. People had a house and they had worked hard to get that loan, that note, that bank note, that mortgage. And they had the house and they were okay with what they had, and they were working and striving to pay that mortgage and making ends meet and all that. And then the market went up, and the value of the real estate, their house, appreciated, meaning it increased. And now they got a little greedy, and they started thinking, well, we got $50,000 in our pocket. We can sell this house. The market went up again. It's 100,000 now. The market went up one more time. And for a few years, the house that was worth 150,000 went up to 450,000, triple. 450,000. That's a bubble. That's an economical bubble for something that is not valued that much. Is inflated like a balloon. People didn't stop to think at margin. Many marriages that I took in as a coach after those years, they came to me broken because they didn't think at the margin. They didn't stop for a minute to say, what are we doing? No. We cannot sell this house to buy one in a high market. You never buy high. You never buy high. You buy cheap. You buy low. So they couldn't understand these things, and they thought it was great. They got rid of one house they pocket in $100,000, but when they went to buy another house, the house, that new house costs so much more. So they just never stopped thinking, never stopped to think, I'm sorry, that what they were doing was going to bring a loss, because they were just creating debt for themselves, because you didn't think about the margin. You didn't think at the margin to make a decision. So that is that last theory. All the ones that I just shared with you guys have to do with business. But as I have seen that in 20 years, I can tell you, you could apply all those different theories in ways that will make you and your spouse make more informed, educated, and trust decisions. Because in a relationship, when you lose trust in yourself, your spouse get to lose that trust in you too. Okay, it's very difficult to gain that back. You have to work for it to build yourself again. So those are theories. You can always go there and reach. And I thank you, because you guys are there paying attention of the information. I hope you like what I'm bringing. You can explore this video one more time, and if you have any questions, you can always reach me throughout all the social media and YouTube, my website as well. If you want to participate of all my future workshops that I have, you need to go and register through my website at www.angelabarias, my name and last name.com. And you have to register so I can have you in my database, so you can receive the next workshops, whether they're free or they have a little charge. You can always decide if you want to participate, but there's tons coming up. Okay. Going back to this marriage and money, let's talk about the money moon. I promise you that, right? The honeymoon is the money moon. This is when the wedding is kind of over, like, okay, so we got married and the honeymoon already went and everything, and we really start life together. That's the money moon, because there is a stage. It's all about the financial aspect. Why? Because during that money moon, you and I, as spouses, newlyweds, we're learning each other's money, ways to handle money, ways in which we spend money, with all those things. Okay, so the habits are going to show up. You can hide them at the beginning, but then they're going to show up. So there is a marriage money checklist that I have, that you can then go reach out from the video. But one, if you want to take note, is you need to create a budget. As a couple, you need to create a budget, and you have to stick to it. Angela, I don't like budgets. That's difficult. It's boring. And I don't even know how to get to it. Well, I have a simple way to do it. Don't forget to go register, and I will into my website, and I will send you more information about that. Just type in, I want to get the simple budget, how to do it. Okay? And I'll send it to you. Create a household budget. You got to stick to it. And a budget, just for you to know, that's coming as well. How to put a budget together. A budget is done every 30 days. There's no such a thing like, I did my budget for 2021. You did a budget for January. And then at the end of January, you do a budget for February, and so on and so forth. There are components that make it simple that I will explain to you in my workshop. So number 2, pay down any debt that you have accrued before you got married. Sometimes, and obviously, this is not the best circumstance, but 7 out of 10 marriages are being engaged, or they start life together with debt. They come in with debt, a lot of debt and a bad credit score and a lot of things, right? So you have to make sure that once you're married, once you're during that money moon that I call money moon, you're gonna create a system. You're gonna use a system to kill the debt, because everything you bring from your past and you're dragging with is not gonna do you good in your marriage. It's just not. So you cannot think that it's okay to keep it the same way. You have to do everything everything possible within your means and time and abilities to pay that debt off. And there are ways. So number 3, start saving for your future together. Once we're together, it's not such a thing like your money, my money, whatever money, and then it is a whole combined, because now we're under the same roof and it affects us. Everything affects us. If you're in debt and I'm not, chances are maybe your habits are going to hinder me, and vice versa. Okay, so plan for unexpected things. You just don't know what could happen. So don't tell me you take life as it comes, because that sounds very free spirit and it sounds fantastic. But when the situation shows up and you have to try to borrow from somebody, it's not fun anymore. Okay, so we gotta plan for unexpected. And if they never happen, praise God for that. Fantastic. As a couple, this is the last one here on my checklist. As a couple, create a total financial strategy. Now I'm gonna go through each and every one of them. It's 5. Okay, it's five things on the checklist that you're gonna use to implement this. The first one I have for you on the create a budget is to use the 50-20-30 rule. Like you heard, 50-20-30 rule. If you want the visual, don't forget you can reach this from my YouTube page. 50-20-30 rule, meaning 50% of your both incomes, both of you, not just one. This is not individual thinking. This is together. You bring 1,000, he brings 1,000. Both is $2,000. That's the income. That's a new income. So 50% of that is for living expenses. That includes your rent, your transportation, insurances, the food, the utilities, the cell phone, okay, internet. All right, that's what it is. Living expenses, living essentials. I want to correct that. Living essentials. I really want to correct that. I'm sorry. You know why? Because the living expenses sounds like spending in different things. Essentials are not the same. So Dolce & Gabbana glasses are not essential. Maybe a 2-for-1 at a store, glasses to read, those are essentials. Okay? A purse every month is not essential. But saving to pay a debt is essential. So if you get the pattern here. So 50% living essentials. 20% of your total income is going to be for financial goals. So if you go check my video about this subject, you're going to see what I'm talking about. It's right there on my IGTV. 20% of financial goals. This includes reduction of debt, savings, and investing money. Saving and investing are two different things, okay? And the last 30% of the income is going to be for flexible spending. You see, guys, I am not that hard. It wasn't all like difficult. Flexible spending. We could flexible spend if we prepare and if we have a system. So this includes things that you want to buy. You move to a new place and you want a new couch because the old one doesn't work. Sometimes we get married and we move with things together. And you know what? At the beginning, this is what we got, but we want stuff that represent us both, not just you or me. So things that are, I think, wishes, they're desires, but you don't necessarily have to buy. So that 30% will be for that. So 50-20-30 rule. Now, I'm almost about to finish. Learn debts, do's and don'ts. If you want more information about debt and how to kill the debt, the mistakes of it, go check my video about that. There's one IGTV and YouTube channel as well. Just learn more about that so you guys can kill if that's the situation you're in. so you can do something about it. Do's and don'ts. When it comes up to debt in a marriage, you do have to break your bad habits of having debt. It's like if you came into the marriage with debt, you gotta think in ways to get rid of that and stop adding debt. You know how it is that I don't know if it happened to you, but sometimes people are having a bad day because they're having a bad morning, and then it's a bad afternoon, and then it's a bad night. It's kind of like, oh my God, all that. It's like I'm having a bad day and bad things keep on happening to me. Well, debt is sort of the same. It's kind of like a bad energy, and it brings more things that are bad. So debt likes to mingle with more debt. So debt is always showing up in your face like, hey, do you want another credit card? Hey, do you want this? Hey, do you want to buy that? Hey, you need this. And it shows on your Instagram, it shows on your Facebook, it shows everywhere. And you're like, oh, how did I know that I wanted that? And I don't know if I have enough money. Like, it's just there because of the consumption of items. Okay, so you gotta break the debt habit. In a marriage, both people gotta be very clear about this one. Let me tell you what's more of a financial downer than a debt. Do you know what is it? Two people in debt. That's terrible, because it's not. And I laugh, but it's because it's very painful. When you have debt, it's like having this thing on your shoulders, and it's very unmanageable because you have to live life pretending you're free, but you're not, and then you have to go work to try to cover for your bad habits of debt. On average, Americans, and this is a statistic over here, on average, Americans carry, listen to this, Americans on average carry $6,194 in credit card debt alone. And this is average. I don't want to scare you, but I have seen people with 10, 15, 20, and 30 and 40,000 and more credit card only debt. So you have to understand that if there is a marriage and both people are in debt and they just meet at the average number, they're coming into a marriage, they're in a marriage with about $12,000 to $13,000. Just think what you could do with that money if it wasn't money that you owe, but money that you have invested or saved. Okay. Another do's and don'ts of debt when it comes up to marriage. Don't live beyond your means. Guys, I cannot stress this enough. This is your income, and this right here is what you spend. And the gap in between is the quality of your life. Now, if this is your income and this is what you spend, there is quality. That is really, really good quality. But if this is your income and this is what you spend, it's like buying a secondhand car. It's like buying, I don't want to say that, but it's like buying Chinese products. They break super fast. Quality is no good. So don't live beyond your means. The average American person holds only 7% of their disposable income. In other words, after paying everything they gotta pay, whatever is left, instead of saving the most out of that, they only stay with maybe 7%. That's very little, very little. So that goes into habits. Do communicate honestly about your spending habits. Listen, I don't care. Like I tell my clients, I don't care if it's been 20 years, 15 years, 3 years, just newlyweds. You know what? Best thing is just to talk about it and just communicate with the other person. It's better for you to tell your spouse what's going on with your spending habits than hiding, because you could hide for a while. until the problem becomes very big, and you're gonna feel very embarrassed about it. So do communicate. If you have a spending habit that's just not helping you, just say, listen, I've been super bad about my money. I just be honest, because the statistic says that 42% of adults here in the United States will think 3 and 4 times before getting married to somebody that has a credit or financial situation. So sometimes you get to meet the person of your life, but nothing happens, and it's because you're not prepared. Okay, your spending habits, the way you accumulate debt, it doesn't match that other person. So think about that. Don't abuse your credit. If you're in an environment like the United States of America, do not abuse your credit, guys. You have to learn the rules. You have to learn the rules. Go back to my video posted on IGTV, and I'm going to bring more information about what it is to handle your credit score, credit reports, and things like that. But 4 out of 10 people in America, that's 40%. 4 out of 10 people in America have no idea of how the credit score is determined. It's like, oh, I got 700. Oh, I got 600. But do you understand why you got that? No, I don't need to understand. I just need to know it's good. That's how you break it. That's how you break it, you guys. Now, when you stop and say, well, I don't understand, but how is it? Dedicate a few minutes. That's how you make it. Okay? That's how you make it. So one more thing before we go, save for a rainy day and for a little more, right? This is part of the checklist. Savings and investing is key when it comes up to, and there's another video about that I just recently posted, emergency, 3 to 6 months of your living expenses you got to put away, guys. Another thing you have to think about when it comes up to investment and savings is short-term goals. We talked about that last week, I'm sorry. Save up for big ticket purchases. Short-term goals is like, I'm saving to put my money together so I can purchase the house, because right now we live rented. When the kids come, now you start having children, gotta think, by the time we start having children, how are we gonna handle that? Are we gonna save? Are we not gonna send them to college? What's gonna be? And then retirement, because we start a life together, but we expect to live a long life together, right? So we're not gonna work the entire life. We're gonna work for a little period and get our stuff done so we can have so much more time for each other. So that retirement is very important for you and your spouse to have set. Saving for emergencies is simple. Really, only 60% of Americans have money saved, at least enough to cover $400 worth of an emergency. That's terrible. That's terrible. That's very difficult to swallow in a place like the United States of America. So we have to do a better job saving money. Saving for short-term goals, also, it's important you to consider summer vacations, especially not just if you have children, okay? You and your spouse. It's not like we got married and then the honeymoon ended. We have to go on vacation, even if it is 3 hours away on a car ride, okay? We gotta do something. A hotel, check on a hotel for a weekend. So summer vacations, plan for or save money towards like maybe new appliances. If you already purchased your house, that's important. If you want to travel in general, as a couple or as a family, and if you want to purchase a house, those are the things that I stress to you the most. It's better to pay in cash than a credit. Guys, I cannot stress this enough. Credit hinders you if you don't know how to handle it. You have to learn it, and you have to be very wise of what you're doing with that. But there is a life without credit cards. Believe me, there is. You can make it without it. Okay, that's the whole purpose. We don't need to live on credit cards, but if you do have to, if you believe you do have to, learn the rules. When it comes up to child education, as a financial and business coach, this is what I'm gonna tell you. We parents, we're all different. We have different beliefs. Now, if you and your spouse decide that you are going to send all your kids to college, regardless of what, because that's the tradition or that's what you think you have to do, prepare. Because college prices here in the United States, per se, just at a public university, public college, right? They doubled. And they have been going up every year. The cost is ridiculous. If you don't start saving for your children when they're young, what you're going to do is you're going to put your kids in debt by the time they go to college. Regardless of what, they're going to carry that debt with them. And they are going to feel very stressed out trying to pay the debt because you couldn't plan ahead for them. Now, it's less costly if you start saving now. Well, once you have children, okay? Once you have children, they turn 1 year old, then you can start saving, okay? Don't do it before. So think about that. College is very expensive. Now, there's all the parents that they say, you know what, they gotta earn a scholarship. That's fantastic too. I mean, it's up to you as a parent. The thing is, like, you and your spouse, you have to come into an agreement, talk about it, and really decide exactly how you want to treat this, because this is a goal. This is a financial goal as well. Talk about saving for retirement, guys. I just mentioned to you that, and I'm just going to give you some statistics, but I just mentioned to you that we get married and we bring things into the marriage, and it all affects us monetarily. Like, that's why I talk to you about economic theories, to apply them on a marriage as we apply them in business, because they work. But saving for retirement is that one thing that you and your spouse gotta make come true. Because after working, paying, then you look at each other, it's 65 years old, you're hitting 60 or 67. You want to enjoy life, but there is no money. Because the past 10 years, you've been earning money, but you don't save anything. You don't retain. Remember the statistic I just gave you. And hi, Adri. And if you just join, you can always go back on this video once it's posted on my IGTV after I finish today, or you can actually go to YouTube, subscribe to my channel, and you're going to be getting a lot of information about different subjects, money-wise, that are going to make a difference in your life. Because that's, as a certified financial coach and as a business coach, this is what I do. Bring a change. Now, saving for retirement, this is what's going to happen. If you both put together this one goal and start working for it, you're going to beat the odds. Because it's two people working for a common goal. That's the strongest bond ever, okay? Now, let me give you some statistics. Millennials, okay? I'm not in that category. I know I look like a millennial. No, just kidding. But I know I'm not in that category, right? I'm not a millennial. But millennials, those are the ones that are still young. They're in the workforce already. And based on businessinsider.com, I was researching, and only one quarter of millennials who expect to retire, there is only one quarter saving money. In other words, 75% of them are not saving money whatsoever. They're falling into the statistics, and they're going to be part of that precious amount of people that are going to need some help financially because they're not going to have enough. Only 18% Americans create a comprehensive written financial plan. I'm not talking about you and your spouse talking about, we're going to buy a house, we're going to pay the house off, I'm talking about having it written down. Okay, this is what we have, this is what we owe, this is how much we make, these are our goals, this is how much our goals cost. If we get extra income here and do that, we can achieve that in less time. And then you have to write it down. The words, they fly away. But when you have it written down and you can stick it on the wall and you both are looking at it, you manifest many things because you're both in agreement. There is something really big about that agreement. Most people average social security income $1,400. Now, you tell me, are you living right now with $1,400 a month? Look at my head. Most likely you don't, right? So if you don't plan, if you don't save for retirement, your money, by the time the government brings it about in a check, it's not gonna be worth it. And you're gonna have to continue working like 30%, 36% of Americans do throughout their senior time. Plan for tomorrow today, guys. Don't leave this for any other time. As a couple, husband and wife, you gotta talk about future. I know it's wonderful to just kind of like, just live life. Yeah, let's do it. That's very, very fun. But we gotta stop and plan. Plan just a little bit. That intervention of having a plan and keeping it up and revise it and having that meeting like you will have it with a partner at a business. Let's talk about the direction of this business. Okay, let's talk about the direction of this marriage and this family and what we're doing. Plan for tomorrow today. You got to create a game plan and be prepared. By this, I tell you, you have to protect your assets. No one thinks and no one likes to think about tragedy, about loss. Oh, but we just got married, Angela. We've been married. Nobody's gonna die right now. All right. Yeah. But just in case if it happens, because of our financial responsibility to each other and our love that we have for each other, what we're gonna do is we're gonna cover our income with some insurance. Life insurance, term life insurance, just put it there, keep it there. And it's just, we both committed to goals. And if one of the spouses ever leaves, then just like it happened to me, one of the spouses ever leaves because he dies, then the other person is not uncovered. The goals maintain. The other person has also freedom to say, okay, well, we did put a life together and we still can move ahead. I can still make decisions, okay? And get a will. Get life insurance, term. Don't be getting other products. Those other products, they don't work, okay? And I might bring a subject later on this, but those products don't work. They rip your pocket, okay? More times than not. And get a will. Get a will because you have to leave a saying. Now with the, I don't want to say the name, with the situation we've been having since 2020, you know what I'm referring to, right? That we have to be careful, and we have, you know what people lack of that I've been getting asked for? Listen, my brother is in the hospital, and my brother got, you know what? And we can't decide for him because there's no living will, there's no power of attorney, there's nothing in place. And so institutions, especially hospital and those kinds of institutions, they decide for you. Because once you become part of the real estate environment, meaning you're inside their building, they own you. They own the right of preventing a litigation. So they're gonna decide the best for you. That is a legal step. So in a marriage, we both have to agree on everything we get, and the direction we're gonna take is going on a will, okay? Protect your income, get a will. I'm about to finish, you guys. I am so glad you're sticking around and learning about this. When it comes up to getting a written financial plan, I'm gonna tell you why it's so important. Have you heard about, one thing is to have dreams and write down your goals. The other thing is to visualize your goals and dreams, like, sticking them to a wall with a picture. Oh, this is the kind of house we like to have. There's something about that keeps reminding your mind, and then you stick to the goal. The same it is in finances. You gotta stick to a written financial plan. And for that, you need guidance. Educate yourself. Get a written financial plan. Decide on your goals. 1 in 4 Americans have a written financial plan. Don't be scared. 25% of Americans have a financial plan. Are you the one? Now, 25% of Americans are the rich, wealthiest population. And the reason why they have a financial plan is not because they're rich, it's because they knew something about getting a game plan written that allows them to make the money that they have now. So are you 1 in 4? Are you the 25%? Or you want to build towards the 25%? Because if you do, there are many resources I have that you can use to get there. 45% of Americans don't have a plan because they don't think they have enough money. And let me tell you, having a plan could be free. Having a plan is just a matter of putting the plan together. You can reach out ways to get a plan from a financial professional, okay? Dig into that. If you want more information, let me know. My services are also there for you. My intention is for you to be financially independent in general, okay? So 20% of Americans with no written plan, so meaning that of that 75% of people, right? 20 of them say that they have no written plan because it never occurred to them that they needed one. They just didn't think a plan was necessary. I mean, we're married, we're together, we go to work, we have money, we spend money, and I mean, we're fine. Never occurred to me. However, I haven't been able to purchase a house, and I don't know. I just for as much as I work, I don't have enough money. So you don't have a plan, right? 20% of that same pile of Americans that say they don't have a written plan, they don't even know how to go about it. Okay, so this is the part of the population that is not like it didn't occur to me. It's just that I have thought about it, but I just really don't know where to start, where to go, what to do. So there's a lot of resources on my website, guys. I'm leaving resources here on IGTV. Once this video is done, if you want more resources from me, you can write to me via direct message. You can get on my YouTube channel, Facebook. I'm everywhere, and my website is right there. Okay, all in my Instagram card presentation. Just to finish, guys, and I am so glad you're here with me till the end. The marriage definition, I'm gonna end up with this, and I'm not trying to come the spiritual to you, but if I do, it doesn't matter. If I do, good for you. It's a legal recognized union of two people in a personal relationship. And when I stress the word legal, is because we live in this environment and we have to be conscious about it is about love. But when we're together, we produce, there's money issues and there are legalities of it. I'm going to bring that subject with another video, as I mentioned to you at the beginning, but recognize that the marriage is a legal stage and you cannot go through it, with it, in it, without learning the rules of the game. If you get more educated about that and apply techniques and treat it as it is, not a cold approach when I meant economic strategies, but understanding that we can use the same approach and actually make the best out of our marriage to succeed. So with this, guys, I'm gonna leave you because I did go a few minutes over. I think this is a very important subject. Many of you stayed with me, and I appreciate that. I leave you tonight with this. If you are not married, think about the things, how you like them to be based on this information. If you are married and there is something in here that turn the light on and go ahead and apply it. Okay? Talk to your spouse, show your spouse the video. And if you have any comments, I appreciate those. Angela Barias, a business and financial coach, is 20 years of experience. Thank you so much for being around. Hope to serve you in the future, and you can reach out anytime. So I leave you. Bye bye. Have a good night.